everyone, it's Emily. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my September wrap-up. So I'm going to be talking about the books that I read this month. And this month was really all over the place because last month the last-ish book that I finished was It by Stephen King, and the slump was real afterwards. And then I traveled for a week and wasn't really able to read. Actually, I was in Florida during the hurricane, so I was safe, but I just ended up staying longer than I was planned and then didn't have enough reading material. So basically, my reading month was like the first half, pretty much nothing, and then after that, I've been starting to get out of my slump. And next month, I'm confident that I'm going to be reading a lot. But the first book that I finished was an audiobook, and it was We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. And I was just, again, like I was mentioning, in a slump, so I didn't give it any rating because I just don't know how to rate it. But basically, it's kind of a book about grieving. You're following a teenage, college age girl who is going to college for the first time, and she is losing her grandfather, who is the only person from her family that is still alive. So she's kind of going through these things, and I enjoyed it. I know a lot of people absolutely love it, so if that's something that you're into, I would recommend it. But like I was mentioning, I just didn't even know how to rate this book. So I hope the lighting isn't too weird, by the way, because I'm using natural light and it's always kind of, you never know what's gonna happen. After that, I read Sight by Neil Schusterman, and I feel like his ideas for his books are always on point. I never know if I end up loving the book as much as I thought I would. I feel like they're always super different than what I thought they would be about, but in this book, you're following basically what they would say an utopia, but personally, I consider dystopian. Just gonna throw it out there. Basically, in this world, we've conquered death, and death doesn't happen naturally anymore. You need a group of people decide to basically go and kill people. And I have to say, it's not really a spoiler, but if you want to know nothing, maybe just skip ahead a little when I don't have the book in my hand anymore. But I thought that there were going to be, like, I don't know if anyone has seen that TV show Dead Like Me. They basically touch a person and then they die. But no, that's not what happens, and I was not expecting it. But I feel like there was so many great ideas in there. I do feel like the rhythm of the book was kind of like all over the place. Sometimes I was like, how is the ending gonna happen when there's like so little pages left and then so much to explain, and then like things end up being super short. So I ended up giving it a 3.5 stars. I did enjoy it. I would recommend it if you're into those type of like YA, utopia, dystopia type of book. I enjoyed it. It was good. Next, I finished Freakonomics, which is a nonfiction about economics-ish. I have to say I didn't know anything about it except that a lot of people were recommending it as a nonfiction to read. And there was so many interesting facts, like really random things, like is the name of someone really affecting how they're going to do in life type of thing. But I feel like they were like stretched really long. Like the audiobook was kind of short, but I feel like, for example, like one idea was explained for so long and then next idea for so long, but then afterwards, after like 2 or 3 ideas, they were just repeating them in the rest of the book instead of bringing new facts, basically. I don't know, I feel like I wanted more for the time that I spent listening to it. Like there wasn't enough, but what I did listen to, I enjoyed. So I don't know, I'm kind of torn with this one. I just wanted more, basically. It was a bit too short, and I can't mention anything without like kind of ruining it, so we're gonna leave it at that. Next, I started a book, but then my library, which is really, really sucky. I feel like I'm always complaining about it, but my library sucks, and I've been trying to use it to, you know, not having to buy every single book, but it just sucks. And I ended up having access to an ebook for 7 days, and I had to speed read pretty much A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. If you don't remember, the first book I loved. No, the first book I hated in that series. The second book I really, really enjoyed, like / almost loved. And then the third book, I was excited to finally decide for myself how to feel about this. And it ended up being kind of meh. Like there was a lot, like basically there's like an epic battle coming. And again, there's a few things that were kind of off, like you're following a person that just leaves for like half the book and they come just at the end type of thing. You're like, where were you the whole book? I just have known nothing about you. And I don't know, I can't say too much again because it's the third book in a series, and I'm just gonna say that it just wasn't as good as the second book. So I'm starting to think that maybe I'll consider the second book as a standalone. Can I do that? I think I'm gonna do that because on its own, obviously you're missing a few things from the first book, but I feel like after reading the whole trilogy, even though there's more books coming, I would reread the second book and just pretend the other ones don't exist. I don't know if I'm going to be continuing. There is like 6 books in this series, and I don't think you're following exactly the same people for the next 3, something like that. So I don't know if I'm going to be continuing. The book was okay. I'm glad I had like most of the things I was interested in. I kind of had like the ending for that, so I'm kind of okay with not continuing, basically. Yeah, if you were wondering, like if you loved the second book but didn't like the first one, you probably don't really need to read the third one, just my opinion. So the book that I had started and had to stop to finish that one was this one. And it is The Long Walk by Richard Bachman, aka Stephen King. And I didn't know a lot about it when I went into it, and I kind of understand now because it's obviously like more character driven, so it kind of explains the whole thing. But this actually I haven't even included yet in a haul video. There's a few books that I read and purchased this month, so you'll see them in my next haul. This month has been crazy. I haven't been able to film enough, but I'm filming a couple today, so don't worry, there's a couple videos coming up, and including this one in a haul. And in this book, it's kind of a dystopian-ish society. You don't really know how it came about, but basically there's now the Long Walk. I think it's once a year, where 100 teenage boys are selected, not like they're volunteering-ish, and they basically walk until like the last man standing, basically. So there's a few rules. 100 boys, they have to walk. They are not allowed to stop. They have 3 warnings. Basically, like they have 2 minutes to like start walking again. They can't stop no matter what. So basically, if they have to pee or use the bathroom, they have to do it while walking or getting a few warnings and then like hurrying up. Since it's the last man standing, they just walk at like 4 miles an hour, I believe, forever until there's only one person. The thing is, how is there only one person standing? Well, after your 3rd warning, you're basically killed. You're shot in front of everyone. So, I mean, pretty intense book. So I would recommend it. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4.5 stars. I would totally recommend it if that's something you're into. It's kind of horror, character-driven type of book. And there's a few, I feel like I wanted a little bit more about like why they wanted to do this. Obviously, the winner gets anything they want, but still, I did like it. Obviously 4.5 stars, would recommend. It's definitely my favorite Stephen King's book that I've read so far. The next one is also a book that you will see in my next haul, doesn't matter. And it is a new book too. It is this one. This is The Boat Die at the End by Adam Silvera. A YA, again, kind of dystopian type of book. In this world, you basically know the day when you're going to be dying. So between like 12 and like 3 in the morning, people are just calling to let you know you're going to die today. Just set your things in place and be ready. Which again, I don't know what's up with that this month, but I would consider that a dystopian. I should have seen it coming because clearly with the title, They Will Die at the End, it's kind of heartbreaking. Like there's no way to like do something to not die. No matter what, it's going to happen. You don't know how. You can't like ask them to know what's going to happen because they don't know. And there is kind of a romance in there, but basically like coming of age type of thing. I enjoyed it. I believe I give it 4 stars. I would totally recommend it if you are into those type of books. It was my first time reading any Adam Silvera's book, and I am definitely willing to read more now because that was good. And kind of last minute, I ended up finishing another book, which this book I started literally almost a year ago. Things happen, right? Last year I started reading Wool by Aoi, and this one, again, a dystopian. Clearly, this is the month for dystopian world. In this one, basically kind of apocalypse type thing happened, and people are living in a silo. So there's like hundreds of levels, lots of stairs, and people are just living in there trying to not go outside. But then when someone does something bad every couple of years, they choose that person to do cleaning, basically go outside and clean the lenses so they can look outside still. And there's actually 5 short stories, which I don't know if you can tell, there's little lines, and they get like longer and longer. They're all related and everything, but I have to say, the first one really shocked me when I read it last year. I was like, whoa, okay, that started like a little bit more intense than I thought it was going to be. And for some reason, I stopped at like in the middle of the 3rd story, and I finished the whole thing this month, obviously. And I liked it. I believe I'm giving it 4 stars. I feel like there was a little something missing. I would not be able to let you know what, because clearly if I stopped for a year, I'm assuming I wanted a little bit more. But it's a very interesting concept, and since there's 3 books, I believe the next one talks about what's happening before, the next one is after. But I'm definitely planning on trying and borrowing it at my library, which is going to be a struggle, but I'm going to try. and continue the series. I do like it. I would recommend it if you are into those type of books because it was interesting. I did like it. So those are the only books that I finished this month, even though I'm kind of in the middle of a couple ones. Actually, I'm like reading / listening to The Fireman by Joelle, so next month you'll see it. So far I'm enjoying it. Again, dystopian type of post-apocalyptic type of book. And the book I was listening / reading when I went to Florida was The Shining, again by Stephen King. Clearly I'm in a mood for this. And so far I'm liking it okay. I feel like everyone raves about it, and I don't know if it did like second half is gonna get better, but so far I'm just like... And literally last night I started this one and I'm like almost done. I'm gonna finish this today. I'm actually hurrying up to do my video so I can go finish this. So yeah, I was telling you, I'm basically done with my reading slump, clearly. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm very excited to do more book videos, so I'm gonna end this so I can film my TBR because that's coming. Plus I'm planning a video like fall recommendations and like when I'm planning on reading and everything. So yeah, I'm gonna be linking on the screen of the videos that I've done so you can check those out. Don't forget to give it a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe because like I was mentioning, way more videos coming. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.